नमो अरिहन्ताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयर्याणं नमो उज्जायाणं नमो लोये सवसाहुणम् मङ्गलं भगवान् वीरो मङ्गलं गौतमो गणी मङ्गलं कुन्दाद्यो जैनधर्मोऽस्तु मङ्गलम् सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वकल्याणकारकं प्रदानं सर्वधर्माणां जैनं जयतु शासनं जैनं जयतु शासनं जैनं जयतु शासनं. Today we are going to study chapter 6, that is substance, attributes and modification. This is the last chapter among Balboth part 1, 2 and 3 that we had studied so far, and then from next week onwards we will begin with Vitrag Vigyan part 1, and that is where our actual syllabus is going to start. But among all the chapters in Balboth, this chapter is the most important: substance, attributes and modification. Acharya Kunkund Dev in his book Pravachan Sarji, Gatha number 87, he says, he was saying the definition of delusion. So what is delusion? Ignorance about substance, attributes and modification is delusion. This means this is such an important topic, and all the other principles that we will see all comes out of this concept. So we have to understand the nature of substance, attributes and modification individually, and at the same time their interdependence, not interdependence but independence. They are independent of one another, and all the other principles we can derive from this only. So this is very important chapter, and apart from here you will also study this in Tattvat Sutra, and again when we study Pravachan there also this will do this in detail. But here it is for the kids at a very primary level, but still we will try to go a bit deep into it. So again in this chapter there is a conversation between a student and a teacher. So who will read? Chinali ji, you can read today. She is not able to unmute. Then we have Subhaji.
Yes, sir. Lesson 6, Substances, Attributes and Modifications. Student: Sir, I have learned from newspapers that a few bombs of such intensity have been manufactured as would entail the destruction of the whole world if war breaks out. Teacher, can the world ever be destroyed? World is a mass of the six substances, and these substances never perish. They only change their manifestations. Student, the world is the mass of substances. What is a substance? Teacher, substance is a mass of attributes. Student, in the discourse on Moksha Shastra in temple, it was said that a substance contains of attributes and modifications. Teacher, that is all right. The changes that take place every moment in the attributes are called modification. As such, when we define a substance as a mass of attributes, modifications are included therein. Student, sir, I have followed that changes in the attributes are called their modification. What are the attributes? Teacher, that which exists in all the parts of a substance and its modifications is called an attribute. For example, consciousness is the attribute of the soul. It is found in all the minutest parts of the soul, from the lowest existence of living creatures to its completely liberated state, moksha. Therefore, soul is all sentience or consciousness, power of knowing or cognition. Student, how many such attributes are there in the soul? Teacher, soul has infinite attributes like consciousness. Why soul alone? Each of all other substances has infinite attributes. Student, so is our soul a storehouse of infinite attributes? Teacher, it is not like a store, which is different from the thing stored. The soul is all attributes. It is an indivisible mass of attributes. Student, what are those infinite attributes? Teacher, can you count those that are infinite in number? Student, however, let us know some of these. Teacher, attributes are of two kinds, common and specific. Attributes found in all the substances are called common attributes. Those that are not found in all the substances but in individual substances are called specific attributes. Example, the attribute of existence is found in all the substances and is so and so it is a common attribute. Consciousness is found in soul alone, and therefore it is a specific attribute of the soul. Student.
Please stop here. We will first explain. I will explain.
Yes, sir.
Then we will go into the next part. Okay. So this is a very important chapter, as I said, and they have made this beginning of the chapter. They wanted to highlight the qualities of a substance. So they say that the destruction of the whole world. So there is a newspaper. There is a news in the newspaper that a few bombs of such intensity have been manufactured as will entail the destruction of the whole world if war breaks out. That means they want to show that the world can be destroyed through a bomb. Then the teacher asks, can the world ever be destroyed? World is a mass of 6 substances. So what is world? World is a mass of the 6 substances. And these substances never perish. They never get destroyed. They are not created or not that can be destroyed. They only change their manifestation. They only change their states. Then what is a substance? So the next question comes up, what is a substance? Substance is a mass of attributes. So world is a mass of 6 substance, and then each substance is a mass of attributes. Then we come to the question, then what is attributes? So that which exists in all the parts of a substance and its modification is called an attribute. So what is an attribute? That which exists, right, in all the parts of a substance and its modification is called an attribute. So attributes are those that are found in all the parts and in all the states, right? In all the states of a substance. The attributes are also self-created and eternal like the substance itself. So the substance is unchangeable. Attributes are also unchangeable, right? They remain constant. So then the next question comes up, then what changes? Then we come to the third part, it is the modification which keeps on changing. So what is a modification? We should know the definition of all. So what is a modification? Which is also called paryay, parinaman, avastha, halat, dasha, these are all synonyms of modification. In English, we use this word modification, manifestation, and the changes that take place in an attribute every moment. The attributes of a substance are constantly changing without any break, right? There are innumerable attributes in a substance, and each attributes is constantly changing. Not a single attributes remain static. It keeps on changing, producing new modifications. This change, manifestation, or modification in each attribute is known as modification or paryay. So now we know the definition of world, then we come to substance, then attributes, and then modification. So the heading of the chapter is substances, attributes, and modification. So we are going to discuss about the nature of all these three. So far, we have understood what is substance. So substance is the mass of attributes, and then what is attributes? Attributes is that which exists in all parts of a substance and its all states. So that is an attribute, and substance contains of attributes and modification. Substance is nothing but a mass of attributes and modifications. For example, consciousness is the attribute of the soul. It is found in all the minutest parts of the soul, from the lowest existence of living creature, nigod, right? It is a one-sensed subhuman being, right? It is found in all the minute parts of the soul from the lowest existence of living creatures. So one sense it is called nigod also, to its completely liberated state, moksha. So whether the soul is in nigod or in moksha, consciousness is found everywhere, right? It is the main characteristics of the substance. Consciousness means, when we say consciousness, in Hindi it is called chetna, and it consists of two attributes. One is knowledge attributes and the other is cognition attribute. So all soul, therefore soul is all sentience or consciousness, right? So soul is all sentience or consciousness. Consciousness means power of knowing or cognition. So there are two attributes that comes under consciousness. One is the knowledge, which is the primary one. We identify consciousness with knowledge only. But then there is another attribute also, which is called power of cognition or seeing, or it is called the darshan gun. So darshan guns have a common impression of the objects, and then knowledge identifies it properly. So first, whenever we see any object, it is the cognition that happens first, and then the knowledge happens next. How many such attributes are there in the soul? Soul has infinite attributes like consciousness, knowledge, then cognition and conduct. So these are all bliss. These are all different attributes in a soul. Why soul alone? Each of all other substance has infinite attributes. So we have in total 6 substances, and each substance has these infinite attributes in them. Then the student asks, so our soul is a storehouse of infinite attributes? It is not like a store, which is different from the things stored. The soul is all attributes. So it is not that there is a big plastic bag, and in that bag there are some grains, pulses, different kinds of things. But it is like this, the soul is all attributes, because in that example, the plastic bag or the thela is different, and the content inside it is different. But here, the soul is all attributes. So there is no other identity of the soul apart from attributes. So the soul is all attributes. It is an indivisible mass of attributes. Soul is nothing but an indivisible mass of attributes. And since each modification, the changes that happens in an attribute every moment is called modification. So when we define soul, then we can always say that it is a mass of attributes and mass of modifications. So all these put together, the attributes and the modification is soul. So it is not that soul is different and attributes are different. They have different nature, but the space in which those are there is all same. They are on the same space. It is not like a store which is different from the things stored. So it is not a store where the material kept inside it is different. The soul is all attributes. It is an indivisible mass of attributes. So now when I say soul, we immediately get in our mind that it is a mass of attributes, infinite attributes. So what are those infinite attributes? Can you count those that are infinite in number? Infinite means infinite. If it is countable, then we say it is countable. But this means infinite means there is no end to it. However, let us know some of these. So now the author is explaining us about the attributes. Attributes are of two kinds, common attributes and specific attributes. Attributes found in all the substances, right? We have 6 types of substances. So there are some attributes which are common to all the 6 substances, and that is called common attributes. And those attributes that are not found in all the substances, but in individual substances only, are called specific attributes. Example, the attribute of existence is found in all types of substances, whether it is living beings or matter or medium of motion or medium of rest or space or time, right? So existence is found in all the substances, so it is a common attribute. Consciousness is found in soul alone, and therefore it is a specific attribute of the soul. Then we have in matter touch, smell, then we can see it, that is colors. Through the eyes, we can see colors through the eyes. And then we have smell also. So these are all specific attributes of the matter only. No other substances has this attribute. So the attributes that are available or that are found in all the substances is called common attributes. And those attributes which are found in that particular substance only and not in any other substance is called the specific attributes. Just as we have seen that consciousness is found only in soul, similarly touch, smell is an attribute of only matter. Similarly, movability is specific attributes for medium of motion, and stationariness is again a attribute, specific attribute of medium of rest. Similarly, giving space is a specific attribute of the space. Giving space or giving what you call avgahana means giving space. Yeah, exactly, it is space for each substance to exist is called space, and that is a specific attribute of space substance. And similarly, we have time, which is again instrumental in the changes happening in all the substances. So all these are specific attributes of that particular substance. It is not across any other substances, and that is how we know the specific attribute. So every substance has infinite common attributes and also infinite specific attributes. So this is where we were there up to that. Now we move on to the next part. How many common attributes are there? So then they will explain the each attribute's function, what it does, and then we'll come to the conclusion. What are the advantages of knowing substances, attributes, and modifications? So, Subhaji, you can continue. How many common attributes are there? Renuji, you can read through.
Student. Subhaji, are you continuing?
No, you just continue. No problem.
Okay. Student, how many common attributes are there? Teacher, there are many, but 6 are important. They are existence, functionality, changeability, knowability, constancy of individuality, and shape retention. That potentiality or quality by virtue of which the substance is never destroyed is called existence attribute. Each substance has this attribute of existence. As such, each substance is self-created. It has not been created by anybody. Nobody can destroy it because it is infinite and eternal. It is on account of this attribute that the nature of a substance is called as Sat. Sat Dravya Lakshanam. Sat, that which exists, is never destroyed. Asat, that which does not exist, is never born. Only modifications appear and disappear. Student, and what is functionality? Teacher, that potentiality or quality by virtue of which a substance performs its own specific functions is called functionality attribute. It is due to this that a substance is called a substance. No substance in the universe is of any utility for the other. Each one is for its own utility because it possesses the attribute of functionality. Student, sir, what is changeability attribute? Teacher, that potentiality or quality by virtue of which the modifications of a substance change every moment continuously is called changeability. A thing is called substance on account of this quality. No substance can cause modification in the other substance because each one has this quality. In the circle of modifications of one substance, there is no need of any other substance. Student, what are the different requisites of these 3 attributes? Teacher, existence merely denotes that a thing is. Quality of functionality shows that the things are not meaningless. Changeability denotes that substances are ever changing. Shall I continue?
No, we'll first explain these 2 qualities. Okay, 3 attributes of this common attributes. These are common attributes, so it is available in all the substances. So there are many, as I said, there are many infinite attributes, common attributes in each substances, but infinite cannot be explained. So the Acharyas have explained only 6, and when you can just realize the each functions of all these 6, then you can be absolute fearlessness, because there are so each quality is very unique and it performs its own function. So the substance is not something which is empty. It is full of attributes and modification. So the first one in the sequence is existence. Why the existence is in the first place? Because if there is not an existence of any substance, then what is the use in explaining it if it does not exist? So first, existence should be there, and then only the other attributes come up. So what is the attributes of existence is? That potentiality is power or quality by virtue of which the substance is never destroyed is called existence attribute, right? So this is the first among the common attributes, the potentiality or power or quality by virtue of which the substance is never destroyed. So not only destroyed, but the substance cannot be created, or it can take a birth, right? So nor it can be destroyed, nor it can be created. And this is what happens because of the existence attribute. This attribute is common attribute, first of the common attributes, and it is in all the substances. So all the substances are never created nor destroyed. So we are now so peaceful that we now know that we cannot be destroyed. There is nobody can harm me in any way, and I can also not harm anybody or help anybody. Each substance has its existence because of its own attributes. As such, each substance is self-created, right? Why it is self-created? Because it has this attribute of existence. So there is no creator God, no destroyer God. Each and every substance is self-independent, self-created, and it has not been created by any God or any other external force. Nobody can destroy it because it is infinite and eternal. So, not a single material can be created, not a material, but any substances. We can say about this, because this is a common attribute across all substances. So not only matter, but even a soul or even a medium of motion or rest cannot be created, or it cannot be destroyed. It is on account of this attribute that the nature of a substance is called is defined as Sat, right? What is the nature of substance? The nature of substance is Sat. Sat means existence. Sat Dravya Lakshanam. This is from Tattvad Sutra. It means Sat, what is the characteristics of substance? The Sat is the characteristics of a substance. Then what is the characteristics of Sat? Ki Sat Dravya Lakshananam, right? So that is the characteristics of a Sat. Sat, that which exists, is never destroyed. Asat, that which does not exist, is never born. So which is already there and exists, it can never be destroyed, and that which does not exist is never born or created. Only modification appears and disappear. It evolves and then it gets extinction. So evolution is Utpad and extinction is Vyay. And that which remains constant is Dravya. So Dravya's Lakshan is Sat, and Sat is Utpad Vyay Dhruv Uktam Sat. So what is Sat? Sat is nothing but evolution and extinction of the modifications, and the substance remains Dravya, or as it is, unchangeable. And sum total of all this, that is means modification and the attributes all put together, is substance. So by knowing this first common attributes among of existence, we can remain rest assured as a parents, all people always think that what will happen to our children when we go away. But they will still exist because of their existence attribute. So by knowing the function of only one attribute, we can be rest assured and we can be fearless, and we don't have to worry for anything. In fact, the worries will not rise only when you have a clear-cut understanding of the attributes of the substance. So this first substance makes us fearless and independent, because we are self-created. We are not created by any external agency, or we cannot be destroyed by any external agency. So we exist in ourselves. Then the second attribute is the attribute of functionality. That potentiality or power or quality by virtue of which a substance performs its own specific function is called functionality attribute. It is due to this that a substance is called a substance. No substance in the universe is of any utility for the other. Each one is for its own utility because it possesses the attribute of functionality. So functionality is a common attribute and it is there in all the substances. So all substance do its own function without any help from other substances, without any disturbance from other substances and without any dependency of any other substances. So functionality attribute also makes us absolutely relaxed, because we have nothing on our head to do, because each substance has its own functionality attribute, and because of this attribute, it is performing its own, creating its own modification every moment without any help from any other substances or external forces. Example, eyes function is to only see, and ears function is only to hear. So if the eyes is not functioning properly, then ear cannot do the function of eyes. Each is doing its own work. They are all parts of our body, but each has its own independent function. It cannot be interchanged with any other part. Like eyes will do the function of nose, and nose will do the function of eyes. It cannot be done that way. Each is independent. Similarly, we have so many attributes, and there is always one question is always asked, that if you have the right belief, why don't you take monkhood? Even Swamiji was also asked this question. Okay, you talk of so much of Gunasthan and everything, and if you have the right belief, then why don't you take monkhood? Right? So there are two different attributes. The right belief is a different attribute, and the conduct is a different attribute. So the moment the right belief appears, it is not that the conduct will also appear. The conduct will take some time. So that's why immediately after attaining self-realization, a person does not become monk immediately, because these both attributes are different and each has its own potential to perform his own duty, and it does not require help from any other attribute. No substance in the universe is of any utility for the other. Each one is for its own utility because it possesses the attribute of functionality. So we are not even concerned with whether all the attributes will function or not, because each of the attributes has its own functionality, and because of that, it is performing its own task. Every moment, new modifications are coming up from each attribute, and there is never a stoppage. Such a nice structure is of substance, and I'm also a substance. So my structure is also that much good. Then the third in the sequence is the changeability attribute. Now the sequence is also very thought of. So first is existence, and if there is something is existing, then it should have function, and if it should have function, then it should keep on changing, right? So the third attribute in the sequence is the changeability attribute. That potentiality or quality by virtue of which the modifications of a substance change every moment continuously on its own is called changeability, right? So nobody is doing any changes in any other substances, but each substance has this quality of changeability with which it changes every moment continuously, non-stop on its own. A thing is called substance on account of this quality. So the name substance has come because of this quality. Because in Hindi we say dravya, and changeability attribute means which Shakti it is, dravyatva, yeah, dravyatva gun, right? Just because जिस शक्ति के कारण द्रव्य की अवस्था निरंतर बदलती रहे, so because of this quality, the modifications of say substance keep on changing every moment. No substance can cause modifications or changes in another substance because each one has this quality of changeability in itself, and because of that quality, each substance is doing its own modifications, or new modifications are coming up in every substance every moment. In the circle of modification of one substance, there is no need of any other substance. So because of this changeability attribute, the modifications of the attributes keep on changing every moment non-stop without any disturbance, and this is what the changeability attribute of the substance states. Now, the all three combined together, they are asking this question, okay, what is the difference among these three, right? So the difference is that existent merely denotes that a thing is existing, right? So it is in the apostrophe. So existent merely denotes that a thing is in existence. A thing is existing. Then the next quality of functionality shows that things are not meaningless. Things are not meaningless means qualities are not meaningless. Each quality is its own function, right? Then the third attribute of changeability. So it denotes that substances are ever changing. So we are seeing that each common attribute is doing his own work independently of any other attributes or any other substance or any other external force. It has its own capacity to do their individual function. Then we come to the next, that is what is knowability. In Hindi it is called prametva gun. I'll just read the Hindi definition first. जिस शक्ति के कारण द्रव्य किसी न किसी ज्ञान का विषय हो उसे प्रमेत्व गुण कहते हैं. Knowability is that attribute by virtue of which a substance become object of anybody's consciousness. A better language would be, knowability is that attribute, or it is the power or potentiality by virtue of which a substance becomes subjects of any kind of knowledge. Here it is written consciousness, but they actually mean knowledge here. See, at that point of time when the translation was done, whatever words were available, that were used. But subsequently we got better words. And so now we can modify it. Many substances are infinitely small, very subtle, micro. We don't know them, for we do not see them. We cannot see through our eyes. How to know one's own soul? How do we know ourselves? We can't see it. Teacher. Every substance has the power to be known by something. Every substance. It is just another thing that we do not catch it by our senses. This is due to imperfection or incompleteness of our consciousness. But actually it is knowledge. Our knowledge is now incomplete. We have this sensory knowledge and scriptural knowledge with us. Then there are three other knowledges, that is clairvoyance, and then which is called Avdi Gyan is clairvoyance, and then we have Mana Paryay. Mana Paryay is what I don't remember right now. And then we have omniscient or omniscience. That
For
is
Manapariyab, you use telepathy.
yeah, telepathy, right. So Mana Paryay is telepathy. And so there are 5 types of knowledges. We have now sensory knowledge and the scriptural knowledge, Mati Gyan and Shrut Gyan that we presently have. Avdi Gyan and Mana Paryay Gyan we are not having. And Keval Gyan, of course, is also not there. So those who have developed complete consciousness know all substances and they are all modifications, past, present, and future at the same time. Being having lesser consciousness or knowledge, know things according to their own capacities. So it is not possible that a substance may not be an object or subject of knowledge or consciousness of some being or the other. Because in omniscience or in omniscient is seeing all the objects. So if it is not seen in your knowledge, then it doesn't matter. It is always seen in the knowledge of omniscient. So this definition that every substance has the power to be known by some being stands. Beings having lesser consciousness knows things according to their own capacities. So it is not possible that a substance may not be an object of consciousness of some being or the other. Soul also possesses such an ability, right? As I said, every substance has this power to know. So soul has also this power of knowing. And it can be known, it knows also, and it can be known by its own attribute of knowledge. When the consciousness does not engage outward, but goes in itself. Then the soul also knows itself. So this Prametva Gun, or the knowability, Prametva Gun, or the attribute of knowability, states that object is seen in one type of knowledge or the other type of knowledge. Somebody is always watching it. So if we know that somebody is watching us, then automatically we stop indulging in sinful activities. So this is again an advantage by knowing this virtue of knowability, that people stop sinful activities. Then there is attributes of constancy. So what does that do? The power that keeps a substance in its original form, that is, one substance is not transformed into another. One attribute or an attribute does not become another, and the infinite attributes of a substance do not fritter or shattered or separated or split out away from the substance, is called the attribute of constancy. In Hindi, it is called Aguru Lagutva Shakti. Aguru means not large, and Alagu means not small. So because of this attribute of constancy, a substance never become large or never become a small. Example, we can see an example of soul and body, right? These two are independent substances. Soul is a living being and body is a non-living being, matter, it is a matter. So soul and body occupies same space, right? But none of soul attributes goes into body, or not a single particle of body goes into soul, right? Each soul retains its own identity because of this quality of constancy, right? Because of this quality of constancy, as one substance cannot be transferred into any other substance, one attribute cannot become any other attribute, and the third is the infinite attributes in any one substance do not get shattered, separated, or split out from the substance. We are coming to the last common attribute, that is shape retentivity, or in Hindi we call it Pradeshvatva Gun. तो जिस शक्ति के कारण द्रव्य का कोई ना कोई आकार रहता है, right? That attribute by dint of which substance have some shape or the other is called shape retentivity. Example, a soul, when it is in a ant, small ant, and then it is leaving that body of ant and going into elephant, right? So here the soul was so small and there it has expanded, right? Why? Because if the soul, or for that matter, any substance retains its own shape, right? There is always a shape with each substances. So substance, shape of trees, animals are independent due to shape retentivity. Now the student says, I have understood common attributes. Please tell me what specific attributes are. So these all were common attributes, and there are infinite common attributes, but here only 6 is being explained as a sample. And you can just imagine with this 6, by knowing the nature of each 6 types of qualities, we have become so fearless, so calm. We have developed this capacity of absorbing things and not reacting either in the form of attachments or aversion. So imagine if only by knowing the function of 6 qualities, we are so much fearless and blissful and so much calm and serene, then just imagine if you know the function of infinite attributes, then what will be your state? So now we are moving on to specific attributes. Those attributes that do not exist in all the substance, but only in individual substances, are called specific attributes. Example, consciousness, perception, conduct, and bliss are attributes of the soul. Touch, taste, smell, and color are the attributes of the matter. Similarly, each substance has its own specific attribute, which does not exist in any other substances. So those are called specific attributes. So the last question, what is the good of knowing substance, attributes, and modification? Teacher, we are all soul substances. The substances are all mass of attributes. As such, we are also masses of attribute. Our thinking that we are low and mean is washed off by knowing this. So we should feel proud of ourselves that we are having so many attributes in ourselves, and these attributes are going to remain with us for time eternal, right? So we never develop a thinking of feeling low or anxiety, depression, because we are full of infinite attributes. So depression feeling will not arise if we know the nature of our each attributes, how it functions. Each is doing its own independent work every moment without any disturbance, and it is being done by self. So there is no external God or any agency who is creating these things. So such a beautiful composition of substance, attributes, and modification, and all, each is independently functioning. Substance is doing its own work, attributes are doing its own work, and modifications are doing its own work independently without any help from any other substance or any other attributes or any other modifications. Our thinking that we are low or substandard and mean is washed off by knowing this. Nothing can challenge our existence and none can annihilate us, right? So we cannot be destroyed or we cannot be disturbed by any other substances. With the awareness of these attributes, we developed eternal fearlessness, right? So we are not aware of all the functions of each attributes, but when we come to know through this scriptural knowledge that we are having this kind of attributes in ourselves, and not only this, each substance is having these common attributes in themselves. So then we do become fearlessness, and each substance is independent also, and also it's full of attributes, and it does not require any help from any other attributes. Consciousness is our attribute, means knowledge is our attribute. Ignorance, attachments, and aversions are not inherent in our nature. This ignorance, attachment, and aversions do manifest in ourselves, but those are not our nature. And just because it is not our nature, that can go away with proper knowledge and belief, proper knowledge and proper belief, this also can go away. Ignorance, attachment, and aversions, because those are not inherent in our nature. They are perverse feelings and are eliminated if we take refuge in the eternal soul. So one has to take refuge in themselves, and then all these perverse feelings of ignorance, attachment, and aversions will go away, eliminate, or it will be eradicated once we start taking refuge in our eternal soul. So by knowing substance, attributes, and modification, we can know of our true nature, and not of only our true nature, but true nature of each substances and how independently they are functioning. And in spite of having substance, attributes, and modification in one space point, but function-wise, these three are different. Attribute is not substance, and substance is not attribute. Again, attribute is not modification, and modification is not substance or attribute. So each are independent among themselves, but not the existence of all three is in one substance itself. So as matter and soul, these are two distinct, different substances. Similarly, substance, attributes, and soul exist in one substance itself. It cannot go out of its substance. So by knowing substance and attributes and its modification, we can realize that how powerful we are. There are so many common attributes and specific attributes in each of us, and if each attribute realize its full potential. Now take the example of knowledge attribute. So we are having limited knowledge right now. I cannot know what is lying in behind me, because I can through my eyes, I can look only forward, not backward. But the full potential of my knowledge attribute is omniscience, omniscient, right? So the full potential is I can know each and every substance of this universe with all its attributes and modification, present, past, and future. So this is the full potential of our one attribute of called knowledge. Hence, realize that we are having infinite attributes. So we should be very proud of our existence and our attributes and our functioning of each attribute. And by knowing the substance, attributes, and modification, we can have a clear understanding of the functionability of each substances and also the independence of each substance, attributes, and modification among themselves. They are not dependent on anything, and they are independently doing their own work. Each substance is doing independently its own work. It does not require any help. So each substance is in itself fulfilling, paripurn, complete in itself. It is complete in itself, and because it is complete in itself, it does not require any help, or nor it can be destroyed or disturbed. And each substance independently is doing its own work every moment, and the universe is in self-automation mode, because the universe is a mass of substances and each substance is working, functioning independently without any disturbance and without any stoppage. And so the whole universe is in self-automation mode. It is working, moving on its own, and it's manifesting on its own. And just mere acceptance of this fact brings happiness, and brings happiness in ourselves. And we feel we are now, there is nothing on our head, and we feel absolutely fearless and very powerful in ourselves. So each substance is full of potential, power, energy, and each substance performs its own functions independently, and it never stops functioning. It keeps on changing, and in spite of changing every moment, it is also constant from the perspective of substance and attributes. So by knowing the independent nature, we feel absolutely relaxed, and we can enjoy each and every moment. Because earlier the anxiety and the miseries were because we were believing ourselves to be the doer of all the work that is happening around. But when we realize that the nature of soul is not to do any other substance's work, each substance is doing its own work, and it has its own capacity to do its own work. It does not require any help. So then we become very relaxed and blissful. So this is the advantage of knowing substance, attributes, and modification. And when we sit across and read about its functions and anything on substance, attributes, and modification, our delusions starts eliminating or gets reducing, and one day all the delusion is eliminated and the sadhak can attain samyak darshan or self-belief, and its path of liberation begins from there. So we should keep on reading about substance, attributes, and modification whenever we find time. And if you want to have a detailed study, it is given in Pravachan Sarji from Gatha number 93 to 126. Only the functioning of this Dravya Gun Paryay, or the substance, attributes, and modification. So it's a very interesting and deep study. So if you want to go further deep, you can study Pravachan Sarji Granth. Anyway, we will be covering it in the 5th year, and we will be covering something in Tattva Sutra in the 3rd sem also. But as an individual, on a personal level, you can always study this, and you will realize that by realizing the independent nature of all these things, you will automatically feel relaxed and fearless. So I've taken some more time today because I'm going to finish it. So I'm really sorry for that. And next week onwards, from Tuesday, we'll start with Vitrag Vigyan Part 1. So if you don't have the book, you can always download the soft copies from the Google Drive that we have for Parmagam Honors. And English version is available of Vitrag Vigyan 1, 2, and 3. I will try to share it. I think initially I had said once, but I will be sharing it again. And those who are not having can always download it and keep on their laptop. Any questions? You are able to make out what I'm explaining?
Yes, sir. It's only the difference between the body, mind, and the soul. That's what is explained, right?
Yeah.
The nature of the body, mind, and the soul.
So each are independent substance. So body is one substance, and soul is one substance. Soul having consciousness, and body is not having consciousness, right?
Right.
So each is functioning its own functions without any help from any other substances. And each substance is complete in itself, so it does not require any help from all other substance also.
Okay, and one more thing, I wanted to know all the meanings of all the Gnan. Of the Gnan, you said clairvoyance.
Yeah.
Mati Gnan?
Mati Gyan is sensory knowledge.
Okay, sensory knowledge. Okay.
And Srut Gyan is spiritual knowledge. And Mana Paryay Gyan is telepathy. And Keval Gyan is omniscience. Right? So these are the 5 Samyak Gyan. And then there are 3 Ku Gyan also. That is wrong sensory knowledge and wrong scriptural knowledge, and wrong clairvoyance knowledge. So in total, there are 8 types of knowledge.
Okay.
That chapter will come up when we study upyog or consciousness. That chapter will come. There we'll see those in detail, and it is going to come in Vitrag Vigyan only coming up. So we'll study. So net over a period of say,
Great.
maybe 2 years, you will understand all the fundamental concepts of Jainism. And then the next 3 years, then the third year, we will have some advanced studies. And fourth and fifth year, we will be only seeing the practical application of each kind of principles that we have learned. And once you know the practical application, you can apply those in your day-to-day life situations. And in that situation only, you can be absolutely remain happy without any anxiety or worries. And that is what the studies is all about. That is why we are studying it, because every soul, every individual wants to be happy. And we can be always happy when we know the real nature of our soul. And for that, we need to study certain principles and some fundamental knowledges, and then some scriptural knowledge also. So all this will complete once you start.
But sir, after having the knowledge also, you tend to get into this ego, self-attachment, hurt, all
Right,
these
right.
things, though you know it's only Jinali or Jinali is happening, these karmas, not with you as a soul,
Yeah.
but it is difficult. How do you get over this?
So thing is that first it comes at a belief level, right? So,
Yeah.
so at a belief level, you know that you are a soul, and all your primary function is to just know, right? So
Yeah.
this is at a belief level. And at a knowledge level, belief and knowledge is all together, but the conduct takes time. So since the conduct takes time, so in the meantime, if there is any situation which arises, then the passions arise, right? Because passions is the function of conduct attribute and not the belief attribute, right? So belief attribute is different, and knowledge attributes is different, and conduct attribute is different, and all are independent of one another, and each is doing his own work. So from the Shraddha point of view or the belief point of view, your belief is become correct, but the conduct will take some time to develop, So for that, for those,
Happen only through meditation, sir.
so interim, yeah, meditation is good for achieving that conduct, developing that conduct quality. But before meditation, you need to have right knowledge, and before right knowledge, you need to have right belief. So once we have right belief, right knowledge, then the right conduct automatically sets in, and that's why we don't promote meditation as such. Because, very good example would be if a boy is not engaged and you ask him, you meditate on your wife, he cannot do it. But get him engaged and then tell him to not to meditate about your wife. But while eating, while going to office, while working, everywhere he is getting his fiance's picture everywhere. He's remembering it. So you don't have to meditate. It automatically happens. First you decide. First you decide who you are. So once the decision is made, the meditation automatically goes.
Okay, sir.
Any other questions? Renuji, you are asking?
No, thank you, sir.
Okay. So we'll close for today. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है। 9 बार 9 का मंत्र गिनेंगे। जय जिनेन्द्र।